Before we go, let's lapel
You're
you.
going to give me the badge of honour as
lapel
well.
me,
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Very important.
Talk quietly. Yeah, being recorded. I talk too loud anyway. Good evening. Oh, thank you for coming back. Wow. Otherwise, yeah, I'm talking to myself all night. But let me ask you, why did you come back? Not just because I'm here. Hear me? Really? Well, then let me ask you this. Why did you come here tonight?
Come every month,
Why do you come to PIN meetings?
because they're good.
It's actually a serious question, why you're here. I want you to think about it. I'm going to assume that the reason you're here is actually because you have some serious goals, some objectives, maybe a big dream around property. Actually, if you're willing, by a show of hands, how many of you here do have big goals around property investment, earning or creating wealth through property? Whoa, perfect, thank you. Pretty much the room, right. Second question, how many of you know how to achieve that goal that you just told me you had? How many of you know how to achieve the goal? Very few, and those putting their hands up, I love that. Shake the hand, not quite sure. Because the truth is, you shouldn't know. If you know, your goal's not big enough, right? You can always stretch your mind further. So I want you to think about that goal. In fact, I don't want you to listen to me tonight. Let me say that slightly differently. I don't want you to listen to me. I want you to listen from your goal, your dream. First tip about mindset. When you set your mind a target, an objective, a cause, it pays attention differently to the world around you. It sees opportunities that it otherwise wouldn't see. So if you're thinking and listening from your goal tonight, you're going to hear something different in Mindset for Success than you would hear if you just sat there and waited to hear what I have to say. So for me, it's more important that you think about your goals and your dreams, and you actually listen to what I'm saying with the intention of hearing something, not necessarily learning something, but hearing something that's going to make a difference to you. Because in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to show you how you can achieve that goal that's in your mind. I'm also going to show you why your own mind will try to work against you, why it tries to sabotage you and stop you. And then I'm going to give you some techniques to help you overcome that self-sabotage that will allow you to understand that you can achieve any goal that you desire. Sound good? Sounds good enough that I want to be in the audience right now. But why can I stand up here and say that? So just very briefly, a little bit about me. I've been a student of personal development, self-growth, for over 35 years. Since I went to my first personal development program, which was a seminar called Mind Powers, back in Australia, back in the late 80s. And the guy was talking from a couple of books, Think and Grow Rich and Psycho-Cybernetics. How many know Think and Grow Rich? Pretty much everybody, yeah. And then part of my journey led me to this guy, Bob Proctor, when I was living in America. I was in America to really study personal development. And I went to one of his seminars, and he was preaching from the same book, Think and Grow Rich, and Psycho-Cybernetics. And I thought, well, this guy knows more than I do. And I spent 5 years working with him, with his company, training with him. And he's been a leader. He was a leader in personal development in North America for over 50 years. Now, interestingly, Simon Zucci talks about Bob Proctor being his first mindset mentor back in the late 90s when he was getting very much into property. So I'm very much in alignment with Simon's attitude, his approach, and the 3 pillars that Chris was talking about at the beginning of the meeting that specialist knowledge that you need, the community that supports you, like PIN, and mindset. I'm also in agreement with something that Simon writes in his book, Property Magic, that success is a combination of strategy and mindset, and that mindset plays 80% of the success. Why do we say that? The strategies that PIN teach, well, we haven't got PIN, the Mastermind and the Mastermind Foundation, but the Mastermind 12-month course, the strategies all work, and yet they don't work for everybody. It's not the strategies, right? And it's not even the person trying to implement the strategies that doesn't work. It's the mindset of the person trying to use the strategies, always. So when you have the right mindset in combination with good strategies, you will always succeed. And that reminds me of a great quote from Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That's a kind of remarkable statement in a way. Whatever you can dream up, that you like, that you desire, you can have it. You can absolutely achieve it. But the key word here is belief. Your mind must agree with your desire. You must believe that your dream is possible. And I'm going to show you tonight why a lot of people don't have the belief they need, but how you can create it and program your mind to have that belief. So when you do, when you really do believe, there is a very simple formula for success in any area of your life. Desire, decision, and determination. Those are 3 simple steps to make this as easy as possible. If you have a desire for something, if you decide to go for it, and you're determined to keep going. But it's not just any ordinary desire, like, oh, I'd like to do that. No, Napoleon Hill talks about it as being a burning desire. Some people will talk about it being that big, audacious, hairy goal. Something you really want. Something that is meaningful to you. When you really want something, then you can make that decision, but not just an ordinary decision. Where you say, yeah, I really want that, so I'm going to go for it. No. You make a committed decision. Like there's no turning back. Like this is it for me. This is what I want. Because you know your mind's going to persuade you tomorrow that you don't want it. You've got to make a committed decision when you realize what it is you want and you know that you want it enough. Like, I'm not going back. Because then all you need to do is you bring determination. That persistence that Hill talks about as well. You just keep doing the thing you need to do. You learn what you need to learn. If you never give up, you can't fail. But the challenge here, again, is decision. People don't like to make a decision to go for something. They don't like to make a decision to follow through on something. We procrastinate. We put it off. We think about it a little bit more. Why? Why are we indecisive? Why do we procrastinate? Because we have uncertainty in our mind and we like certainty. We like to know that we're going to be able to do this, that it's going to work for us, that it's going to pay off, that that deal really does stack up and it's going to pay dividends. Yet there is no certainty. There's due diligence if you're investing in something, but there's no absolute 100% certainty that what you want to do is going to work. You've got to have some faith, some belief in yourself. So, like I said earlier, if your goal's big enough, you shouldn't know how you're going to do it, but that shouldn't also stop you from beginning, just because you don't know. Because when you decide, when you really commit to your dream and your goal, the way opens up. So I like to refer to the space race in the 60s. Oh, let me go back. Which is a really good example of not knowing how to do something incredible that has never been done before. You know, the story goes that the president of the US at the time, John F. Kennedy, asked the head of the space agency, you know, can we get to the moon? What would it take to send a rocket up there, land astronauts on the surface, and bring them home safely? And seemingly the short answer, it wasn't a technical answer, the short answer was simply the will to do it. The will to do it. If we want to do it enough, we'll find the way. If it's possible, we will find the way. So let's do it. So when you are procrastinating, when you're thinking about whether you should or you shouldn't, whether you wonder whether you're capable of doing it, it's not the question. The question is, do I want it enough to commit to going after it and figuring out how? They figured it out. But then when you ask that question, when you make the decision, something shows up that wasn't there before. This huge gap, the gap between where you are right now and your dream, your goal. And it will be big if the goal's big enough. And it might seem overwhelming. It might seem more than you can believe you can achieve when you actually decide to go after it. So there are two things you really need to know. Where you are right now and where you're going. Now, it might seem obvious. Physically, this is where I am. Practically, this is where I want to get to. But this gap isn't just a practical, physical gap. It's a psychological one. It's you wondering whether you really can do it. So what we need to know is actually what we believe right now and also what we need to believe to get to the destination. So no matter what the peak of your mountain is, whatever your goal and dream is, you're going to have to believe something different. You will believe something different when you get there than you do today when you start out. But you do need to know what you need to believe that you don't believe today. And you also need to know what is it you do believe today that's going to stop you. We all have limiting beliefs in our mind that tell us why we can't do this, or that's too much, or maybe that's beyond me. But they're just beliefs, they're not the truth. You can change those, but you do need to know what your limiting beliefs are that are going to stop you. You need to know what to look out for, also what to change. So how do you do that? How do you figure out what your limiting beliefs are? Oh, what do I believe that's going to stop me? Well, you take the leap of faith, you jump. Because your mind will tell you why you can't do this when you start, when you jump, when you take that leap. How many people have actually done this? I'm just showing a photo of a zip line here, right? How many people have done a zip line standing on it? You have? Sarah. How was it before you jumped the first time? Do you remember?
Things like that, so I was fine.
Oh, no, really? When you stood on the edge, what was it like?
Oh, great fun.
It was great, good. Who else? Come on, please. Who's done it? Who found it scary before they jumped?
I've jumped out the plane before, does that count?
Oh, yeah, that really counts, yeah. That was Will Smith as well, wasn't it? You scared on that one?
No.
Okay. Were you scared before you jumped? Yeah? Do you know why you were scared?
Fear of falling.
Fear of falling, yeah. Yeah. When you did it, when you jumped, did that fear disappear?
Yeah.
What was it like then when you jumped? And there was no fear? Relief, yeah.
That my parachute opened.
Oh, parachute open. Hey, go for that. And then what?
It was just nice and to be honest with you, I got a bit bored.
I'm just hanging here. This is so easy. This is so natural. Interesting. It's so beautiful that you say that. Because when you stand on the edge of the cliff or in the door of the plane, you're about to jump off, usually the little voice goes off in your head and says, this is ridiculous. This is dangerous. This is risky. You shouldn't be doing it. I'm scared. It tries to stop you from jumping. And then when you do it, well, its job's over. It goes quiet. Nothing's going on in the mind. I'm floating there in the sky. So what? What? This is how it is with any big venture, any big goal. Before we take the leap, the first leap, we're scared. Why? Because the mind is programmed to see risk It's programmed to hold us back from taking the risk that might be dangerous. For most of us, our mind recognizes danger. It's good if you could, yeah.
More scared of going to the hairdressers.
There's always something we're scared of. But when you take that leap towards something that you really want, the fear does disappear. So what is this fear? What is it that holds us back? And it's a whole bunch of things, really. So fear, doubt about whether I'm good enough, worry about whether it's going to work out, a whole host of limiting beliefs that are in our subconscious mind. So I call these paradigms. Paradigms are patterns of thought, patterns of behavior, just patterns. But our minds are programmed to do things habitually. So our behavior is habitual. Our thinking is habitual. We think the same thing. We think the same way. And these paradigms control us. They're designed to control us because they're designed to help us get up each day and do the life that we're doing. But they also stop us from doing something different, something maybe risky. So paradigms actually control pretty much everything that's going on in our life, in us. They control our moods. They control our perception of life. They control our logic, our productivity. But they also control what we think about time and money. Two really critical aspects of life. Your subconscious paradigms, your limiting beliefs, determine what you think about time and money. Now, all of you, probably pretty much all of you, will have said this to yourself at some time, or you certainly know someone close to you who's said this. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. At some point in our lives, we all find ourselves saying that. But that's not true. That's just a belief. It's not true that you don't have enough time, right? 24 hours in the day, everyone has the same number of hours in the day. It's not the time that's the problem, it's what you do with your time. It's how you prioritize it. How do you organize your day so that you are using time? Money? I think Rachel's already explained that there's plenty of money out there. Whenever you hear yourself saying, I don't know how to find the money, I don't have enough money, you're just not looking hard enough, right? Yeah. You haven't exhausted all the opportunities that are out there. So it's a belief, it's a thought. And it's a repetitive thought, and it's one we've probably been given in our childhood, that money's hard to come by. That it's a struggle to find the money. It's a belief, not a truth. So paradigms control how you think, what you do, your results, everything that you're able to achieve in life is a program of belief, of limiting beliefs. So I want you to recognize that as you go forward towards your goals and your dreams, that the only reason that you can't achieve them, or the only reason you're stuck, or the only reason you're doubting yourself, is a programmed belief in your mind. And it's really a bit like an app on a smartphone, right? You can't do something with your smartphone if you don't have the app. If you don't have your banking app, you can't bank on your smartphone. These days, if you don't have the right parking app, you can't park in half the car parks in this country. Our brains are like a smartphone. Our paradigms are the apps programmed into them that allow us to do whatever we want to do. If we struggle to do something, it's because we don't have the program, we don't have the app. So I kind of want you to think about it this way. If you only take one thing away from tonight, this quirky little phrase, I want you to remember that the only reason that you're telling yourself you can't do something, can't cross that gap, is simply because you don't have the app for the gap. You haven't programmed the app in your own mind. So that little quirky phrase, for me, is kind of memorable. It's me, I will say to myself, when I find myself doubting something, I say, yeah, we just don't have the app for the gap yet. A quirky, memorable phrase that interrupts your mental programming, your paradigm, catches it off guard. You stop listening to your mind tell you why you can't do something, and you remind yourself you can. You remind yourself that your goal is more important. So clearly, this is all about the mind, and I'm going to take you inside your mind to show you how it works, how you can program one of those paradigms or download an app into it so that you can actually really believe you can achieve your goals. But before I take you in, I need you to activate your mind properly. So what I mean by that is I need you to imagine. I need you to use your imagination because that's what we're going to use inside your mind. So let's see. All right, so everyone pretty much drove here tonight, seeing as we're on the outskirts of town. I want you to think about how you got here, the car you came in. So just think about the car, start to use your imagination, remember what your car looks like, what make is it, what color is it, it's not too hard, right? Where did you park it? You'll need to know that when you leave. But you know that. Your mind already knows that. Your subconscious mind knows. Your conscious mind might not. When you walk out the door, you go, where am I? Maybe even the car you park next to. Picture it. Just picture color, make, place. Your subconscious knows this, but you need to use your imagination to remember. Okay, so that's simple enough, right? Okay. So to go a little bit deeper, next level, I want you to imagine your mind. What does your mind look like? Can't help but smile on this one. Because it's a bit of a trick question, right? What does your mind look like? Wow. You can see your car. Why can't you see your mind? It's yours. You'll sell your car, but you'll never get rid of your mind, yet you can't picture what it looks like. No one will pay anything for your car or mind, yeah. Yeah. Okay, all right. So it's slightly a trick question because the mind isn't a thing you can see. The mind is actually an activity. It's energy. It's thinking, energy, in motion. That is what your mind is. It's one way of describing it. Thinking, energy, in motion. But if we're going to work with the mind, and we're going to work on the mind, and we're going to do something to the mind, we've actually got to use the mind to do it. So it needs to see itself. Because the mind works visually, it works in pictures, and if it's going to do something, it has to have a picture to work with. So there was a holistic doctor in the States, middle of last century, who set up a wellness clinic. And he recognized that to work with the mind, with our mental states, we needed to have a visual representation to be able to do this. So he came up with a very simple visual representation of your mind. This is what your mind looks like. Oh, no, that's right. The stick person. You say, what? What is that? What's that got to do with my mind? So there are two circles. Top circle's the mind, bottom circle's the body, because the body is an instrument of the mind. Top circle divided into two. Your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, which together move you, your body, and cause you to do what you do or not do. Making it simple, because we need to make it simple for our own mind. Conscious and subconscious mind. So the conscious mind is the thinking part of the mind. The subconscious is the emotional that we feel with. Conscious mind we create with, but it's the subconscious that expresses what we do. So let's look at it a little more deeply. With your conscious mind, this is where you set your goals. This is where you dream about the future in your life. This is where you create, where you come up with ideas. But the subconscious mind is where your beliefs and feelings are. And when you decide to set a goal, go after a dream, your subconscious checks to see whether you believe it's possible. It checks to see what you feel about it. You got this goal for being a millionaire property investor? Whoa, we don't believe that's possible. How do you feel about it? I feel a little bit frightened and scared and unsure. So we're not going to do it. And it's your subconscious that controls what you do. It's not your conscious mind that goes, hey, I'm going to go out tomorrow, find £1 million worth of investment, buy a couple of HMOs, I'm on my way, this is easy, I'm going to do that. It's not your conscious mind that makes that decision to act on the idea. It's your subconscious mind that makes the decision whether to act or not on the idea. And it's based on what you believe today, not what you want. So, what do we need to do? Well, we need to get the two sides of the mind working in harmony. You've got to make your beliefs match your dreams. Your beliefs must match your dream. Otherwise, you're not going to do it. You're not going to take the action. You're going to struggle. You're going to hit challenges. And you're going to give up. Your beliefs must match your dream, which they don't right now. Otherwise, you'd already be where you want to get to and setting the next goal. Okay, so, all right, show me how to create the beliefs that match the dream, that support me to take the action to achieve the goal. How do I do that? So it's not as simple as I'd like to make it, because if you imagine your mind is like an iceberg where 90% of the ice is underwater, 90% of your beliefs are unconscious. You don't even know what you believe, because a lot of our beliefs are programmed when we're children, not paying attention. Our kids and teachers and our friends tell us who we are, what we're capable of, how good or stupid we are. They tell us things. As a child, we hear it, we believe it, and we forget that we believed it. So your 5-year-old self chose to believe something that it was told that was probably wrong, but it's still running you today. No matter how old you are, your 5-year-old self still has influence over what you do. Oh, they said I wasn't very good in school. I'm not very good with numbers. I have a client, she was a client, she's now on the PIN Mastermind, the 12-month Mastermind. She's not very good with numbers. She's halfway through Mastermind, she rang me up and said, I got a problem stacking deals. I can't look at the spreadsheets. No matter how hard I try, I can't look at the spreadsheet because I don't understand it. Help me. Great, thanks. Belief from childhood. You're not very good with numbers. You're really great with words, but not with numbers. That's still running her today. Can't even look at a spreadsheet. She needs to be able to stack a deal. That's how insidious our limiting beliefs are and how deep they are. So what are we going to do? How do we do this? Well, it is absolutely about how you think. If you learn how to think, when you know how to change your thoughts, then you can change your life. But if you just have this programmed way of thinking, and you think a certain way, you do not understand that that's programmed, and you do not know how to change those thoughts and beliefs that you wake up with every day, you're going to get stuck. It's going to be a struggle. You're going to have to force yourself to do things. But we want to make this easy. So going back to the stick person, we've got to do a lot of conscious thinking. We've got to take that dream and think about it every day. We've got to think about it until we fall in love with it, so that the subconscious mind starts to accept this idea instead of rejecting it. So I'm going to show you how you do this. But this is what we need to do. We need to consciously think about the goal and the dream until we feel like we're beginning to believe it's possible, because it's only then that you will start doing something, taking action, and getting results. You know how hard it is? You say, I have to do this. Someone told me I have to do this, but I don't like doing it. Someone told me I've got to ring estate agents and find deals. I don't like ringing them. Yeah, because you don't believe you're good enough to do it, or you don't believe you're capable enough to do it. But if you want the result enough, and you think about it every day, you will persuade yourself, you will inspire yourself to take action. This is where we need to get to. So how do we do this? Well, we've got to use imagination, which is why I was asking you to trigger your imagination. Why? Imagination, Napoleon Hill again. Imagination is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. That's quite a powerful statement in itself. Why? Why would he say that? The most powerful force? Because it is with imagination that we create everything. It is with your imagination that you create your life. You dream it up, you think about it, you work it out, you picture the future, and you follow the picture. Everything in this room was created twice. First, in someone's imagination, they thought of the chair, the screen, the clicker. They thought of, imagined it. What would it look like? Give me a better clicker. And then someone made it. Everything in your life was created twice. That's how powerful the human imagination is. And everybody's imagination works the same way. Don't sit there thinking, well, the smart people who've got good imagination, they're the ones who are successful. They're better than me. No, the imagination works the same for everybody. The mind works the same for everybody. Your mind is no less powerful than anybody else's. It's how we use it. It's how you use your mind that makes the difference. So what do we need to do? We need to start imagining the life we want. We need to get a different picture on the screen of our mind. In fact, what we need to do is we need to get our mind to be blank. Like a blank screen that you can paint anything on. Problem is, whoever gets a blank screen in their mind, whoever has an empty mind, it's always, like I said, right? Thinking is always happening. Your mind is energy in motion, thinking energy. It's always happening. And everybody has a picture in their mind, a view in their mind of life, of their life. And I'm going to show you 4 paintings that pretty much capture the typical views that people have of their life. So let me show you this constable, right, which is kind of it's pleasant, it's ordinary, it's muted. But it's okay. Life's fine. It's okay. There are good times, bad times, but it's okay. Most people are living like that, ordinary, muted life. Some of us, and at certain times in our life, will maybe have a little bit more depressive thoughts, the dark Dutch masters, where I'm feeling a bit depressed, a bit of despair going through the winter of my life, but I will get out of it, because we do. When really what we should be doing is maybe one of these kind of Hockneys, vibrant, colourful, bright, alive. Or, if you prefer, a Monet. A little serene, delightful, colourful, pleasant. So what's the picture of your life that you hold on the screen of your mind? What does it look like? What do you wake up inside of every day? You should have an image of the life you want, not just the life you've got. We want to be thinking from the life we want, the dream, not from the life we wake up inside of every day. You've already got that. You've already created the life you've got. You don't need to pay any more attention. You need to be paying attention to your dream. Now, that's what I would call a paradigm shift, right? We change from the paradigm of the life we've got and create the paradigm of the life we want with beliefs that support it. So we've got to work on the picture, we've also got to work on the words. How do we do that? Well, we've got to think in a certain way. The certain way of thinking is the way that we create anything. And it has these 4 components. And you use them every day, but you don't necessarily use them consciously and obviously. Visual, mental, emotional, and physical are the 4 steps that you use to create anything, from your cup of coffee in the morning, dinner at night, your biggest goals. These are the 4 steps, the 4 phases that we use all the time to create our life. But we do it unconsciously, and therefore we're doing it automatically based on your paradigms, your patterns, your apps that you've already got loaded. We need to take conscious control of this sequence. So how would that look in terms of your property goals? So the first thing is you're going to imagine your goal. You're going to picture it. then you're going to actually consciously choose what to think about your goal. Not, oh, how am I ever going to do that? Am I capable? No, I want to be thinking about that I am going to be doing this. I'm going to be thinking about the positive ways, the opportunities that are going to come because I've committed to it. Now that's going to cause you to feel pretty good about this. And when you feel good about your goal, your beliefs, you are motivated to take action. Action happens naturally, normally, easily. You just get up in the morning and want to do that thing that last year you didn't want to do. So I call this the mind view because there's always a view coming onto the screen of your mind. You always have a view of life. And this is such an important part of mindset. What is the picture you're holding in your mind about your life? What is your view? And what are your beliefs about it? Are you picturing what you want in the future, your dream, or are you looking at the problems of your life today? So these are 4 questions that you should be asking. If you learn to ask these questions, you're going to be focused on your dream more. You're going to be thinking about your goals. You're going to be finding solutions, and you're going to inspire and motivate yourself to take action. So what is my picture? What am I picturing today? I wake up every morning and I do a little ritual. One of the first things I do is I'm asking myself, which picture? And this becomes routine for me, but I'm picturing my future, not my present. I already created that. I know what to do in my present. I'm picturing my future, so I remind myself. What am I thinking about it? Am I thinking I can do this? Or am I thinking I'm scared and I shouldn't do this? What am I thinking? How do I feel about that? Am I feeling inspired, excited, enthusiastic? Or am I feeling frightened, uncertain, anxious? What am I feeling? You've got to know where you are. You've got to know what's going on inside of you. And then what am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? What am I going to do in the next day or 2? Or 3, right, Mark? What am I going to do in the next 3 days to move myself forward? I asked Mark because he was telling me about a nice little process for helping people get into action. Not what are you doing in the next 90 days, what's your 90-day goal, what's your 3-day goal? It's a nice tip for getting into motion on doing new things you've never done before. Thank you, Mark. So, clearly this is all about the way we think. Now, many of you will be familiar with this quote from Henry Ford, right? Whether you think you can or think you can't, you are always right because you're the one thinking. Whether you think you can or think you can't. But let me ask you this. If you have a dream, if you have a big goal, why would you think you can't do it? Why would you choose to think, I can't achieve my dream? Why would you choose to do that?
It's safer than failing.
It's a rhetorical question, but thank you for the answer. Why would you choose? Why would you choose? Why would you consciously choose to think you can't do it? Well, the truth is, you wouldn't. You wouldn't wake up tomorrow and say, this dream, this big dream I've got, these huge goals, I'm going to choose to quit. No, you've got a dream. You've created it. You've felt it. You've seen it. You want it. So who's doing the thinking? You did not choose to say to yourself, I can't do this. Your paradigm thought for you. Your subconscious mind is thinking you can't do it because it hasn't been programmed. It doesn't have the belief yet. It doesn't have the app. And this is important to know. You do not choose your doubts. They're given to you as an option. You got this big goal. You sure you can do this? Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe you don't know how. You sure you want to do this? It's an opportunity to recommit day after day, sometimes hour after hour. When you hear the little voice say, I'm scared, I can't do this, bitten off more than I can chew, this isn't going to work, I'm not capable. It's an opportunity to choose again the dream. So if there is a moment in your life when you have this big goal and this dream, and you fall in love with that dream, and you decide to do it, remember that. You'll need it in the future when those doubts come up and question whether you're serious. Choose, consciously choose. So I'm going to go through 3 steps to explain how to remember what I've spoken about tonight and how to use it. 3 steps are possibility, opportunity, and action. Let's go back to here. You got this dream, you got this goal, you're standing on the edge, you're not quite sure. Don't look at the drop, it's going to scare you. Look at the landing, the destination. Where do you want to go? What's possible? Well, what's possible is getting there. Yeah, that's possible. If you have the dream, if you have the idea, it's very possible. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had the idea. It's yours. Came from within you. It's possible. Good. So you focus on where you want to go. Next step, now you're able to ask the question, how do I get there? And that's not out of need, desperation, anxiety, and uncertainty. Oh, how do I do this? No, it's curiosity and expectation. I've decided to do this. Tell me how. And you start to listen to your own intuition because you believe it's possible. Instead of listening to your paradigm, telling you why it's not. So ask how I can instead of listening to why I can't. And then what happens is you get inspired to take action. You get ideas, you get answers, but the answer will require you to do something. All successful people share one thing in common. This quote from Albert Gray. Successful people form the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. Successful people form the habit of doing things they don't like. Oh, I don't like that. I don't want to do that. I'll do something else. Procrastination. But if you can get into the habit of telling yourself, yeah, to achieve my goal, I will get a good idea. I must act on that idea. Even if I don't like it, if it's a good idea, I must act on it. I went to a networking event, met lots of interesting people, plenty of money in the room, but I don't like following up. Oh, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to ask them. No, you must do things that you don't like doing if you're going to get the results that you want. So successful people are willing to do things they don't like doing because the result that they get from doing it is exactly what they want. So your goal, your destination has to be more important and emotionally stronger than the fear that will come up when you're asked to do something. Okay, let me put that into just 3 quick phrases. What are you going to do to be able to achieve your goals? You imagine your goal, you think of how you can do it, and you take action. You make action a habit. So as simple as see it, say it, do it. And we've got to break this whole process down into its simplest form that we can remember and that means something to us. So I said I'd give you a technique as well of how to pull all of this together to remind you some of what I've told you tonight, but also help you to stay connected to your goal and your dream and remember to take action. And this is a little device called a goal card, small piece of card, and this is based on the principles of success in Think and Grow Rich. It was created by my mentor, Bob Proctor. It has been proven time and again to be incredibly successful. You write your goal on the goal card and you read it every day. You read it when you get up in the morning. You read it before you go to bed at night. And you read it or think about it as often as you can during the day. Because what you're doing is you are connecting with your goal and your dream every day, which is important. You are also programming your subconscious mind to say, this is important, and I want you to build the paradigm that's going to help me take me there. So a couple of examples very quickly of people that have used this. So a client of mine, and I'm allowed to speak his name, he allows me to tell this story, David McGinty. He was on the 12-month Property Investors Network Mastermind property education course that just finished last month. And he used one of these cards to become one of the top performers on Mastermind, but also to achieve a particular goal in that 12-month period. So he was one of the 5 top performers, so that he ticked off. And he put together a rent-to-SA portfolio that is projected to earn him £50,000 a year this year, so that he can maybe quit his job if he chooses and be full-time in property. And he will tell you that using one of these cards helped him enormously. And there's another person, maybe a little bit more famous, a guy called Phil Goldfine, who's a Hollywood film producer. He wasn't very good some years ago, but he went to Bob Proctor, asked him, how do I win an Oscar for Best Producer? He said, well, start with this. Write it down on the card, read it every day, think about it, get emotionally connected to it, really want it, and you'll find out how. Not only did he go on to win the Oscar, he also went on to win a Tony and an Emmy for Broadway theatre and American TV. Very, very, very few producers have ever done all 3. And he will tell you, there's a YouTube video that he puts out, the gold card made the difference. So my invitation to you is to pick up a gold card. There was some on the back table, and begin to use it if you like that idea. Second invitation I have for you, which Simon Zucci allows me to invite you to a webinar just for PIN members, where I explain how to write that gold card and how to program a paradigm, new beliefs into your mind. And I run those every month for PIN members. You will see that, you'll find the date on the QR code on my form. If you like the idea of what Chris was telling you about working with me, please come and see me at the end and I can tell you more about that. But the one thing I'd really encourage you to do is write your goal down, read it every day, begin to build the belief. And magic really happens from that. So with that, I'm going to hand back to Chris, and I really thank you for your listening. I appreciate it. Thank you.